So Kyle, the lovable host of Geek Deconstructed, which we've been putting out recently over the past couple of weeks, is an amazing friend of mine and I love him dearly, except when he tries to force me to do his dark bidding and basically just kind of convince me to do things that are outside my comfort zone, which he does constantly. Point in case, he got me to play Mass Effect when I had no interest in that game, but I'm sure glad that I did. Then he got me addicted to Community, which I hugely enjoy because Troy and Abed are absolutely amazing. And most recently, he's been really imploring me to try to get back into Game Gab. So what's Game Gab? Those of you who have been with the channel for a little while know that last year Kyle and I started this thing called Game Gab where we would basically just kind of play games from Steam, kind of talk over, and basically just do like kind of a let's play sort of video. And while we had a lot of fun doing it, it got nowhere near the traction as a lot of our other videos did, so we kind of pulled the plug on Game Gab. But over the past week, since I've been kind of not putting out a lot of content, which I'll get to that in a minute, Kyle was like, hey, why don't we just kind of, play some Steam games? I hear about this game called Who's Your Daddy? Should we check that out? So Kyle came over the other night and we actually just sat down here and played about an hour's worth of Who's Your Daddy. So today I just wanted to talk a little bit about Who's Your Daddy and this incredible asymmetrical multiplayer game and kind of give you a little bit of background on what it is and what it's all about. So Who's Your Daddy, as I mentioned, is an asymmetrical multiplayer game where you have basically two players. One, you have the baby, and two, you have the daddy. Now, daddy's job is, like an actual father's job would be, is to make sure that the house is baby-proof and completely baby-safe. If you are playing as the baby, it is your job to just completely murderize yourself as quickly as possible.
Right. Oh shit, you drank the bleach, didn't you? Son of a bitch. Okay, baby.
What?
Damn it!
Yes, it's a little bit macabre, but it's objectively hilarious to kind of play in this, kind of weird dad versus baby kind of scenario. Just because it's just, it's just creepy. It's really weird. It doesn't help much that the game is an alpha, so it's only like $5. It's like a Steam greenlight kind of game, and probably rightfully so. The graphics are really, really rough, and the whole thing's not super polished, especially if you try to crouch, which is also kind of hilarious because you just kind of don't crouch. Your enemies just kind of bamps you into like a half-height kind of mode, which is very weird. But ultimately, the game's just like a lot of fun to play. Like, I don't think it has a ton of longevity yet, but that's kind of what Alpha's for. But basically, so if you're the baby, let's kind of go through, what you can expect playing in both of the different roles. If you're the baby, you kind of move a little bit slower, but you're also kind of harder to spot and a little craftier. And weirdly, baby has a sprint, which is absolutely disturbing. It looks like some Exorcist type stuff. If you try to like basically sprint across the floor as the baby, it's very disturbing. So as the baby, it's your job to do yourself in. So you can do that in a variety of horrifying ways. You can eat a bunch of D batteries, you can eat bleach or Windex, you can crawl into a bathtub and turn the water on and drown yourself, you can crawl into an oven and bake yourself, which is, all of this just saying it is completely ridiculous, but it's also a huge part of Who's Your Daddy's charm, I guess. On the flip side of thing, if you're playing as the dad in this game, so Kyle and I just kept switching back and forth. He would be the dad one round, then I would be the dad the next round. But if you're in the dad's position, what you want to do is you want to cover light sockets, you want to put away sharp objects, tasers, you want to lock cabinets, and it's weird because most of what you do as the dad is basically preventative, which I'm sure is very much like being an actual dad, but so you're pretty much just trying to create as safe of a baby environment as possible. So you get a little bit of a head start, like 10 seconds or so before the baby kind of gets out of his crib and starts wreaking havoc trying to kill itself, which is fine, except the game seems a little bit weighted in the baby's favor just because the baby has so many different things it can do to do itself in. So it's really, really quite hard to win around as the dad in what we've seen. But you can see that the developers are trying to create balance there. Like, for example, the baby is, small and slower, but ultimately kind of craftier because the baby can crawl through vents and such to get to different parts of the house. And, the flip side of that is, the dad is actually, obviously faster and has a little more versatility because you can do things like lock doors or take things out of the baby's hand if it tries to stick a fork in a light socket, for example, which is exactly the strategy that I kept going back to. So after playing it, it's one of those games like, should you buy it for $5? I would say so. If for no other reason, just the shock value or the look of horror on your friends' faces, you introduce them to a game where you're a baby trying to kill itself. It's very dark, but also kind of cool and, interesting and weird. So Anyways, that is just a quick look at Who's Your Dad. You can pick it up on Steam for like $5. I'm sure it'll be more expensive as development goes on, or it could turn into vaporware for all I know. But after playing it for about an hour with Kyle, seeing him try to basically bring back Game Gab and all that, we had a lot of fun playing it. So you should definitely check out Who's Your Daddy. So the other thing I want to talk about real quick was there's been a notable lack of vlogs from the past week, which is not a great start for somebody who wanted to do 365 in 2016. But the short answer is the reason for that is I actually basically got a little bit of a boo-boo. I was driving on the highway and narrowly avoided an accident, and in doing so I kind of like jerked my, that could have gone a weird way. I basically jerked the steering wheel, and which sent my neck like this way. And I ended up pinching a nerve. So for the past week, I've been on a steady diet of steroids and muscle relaxers and basically just over-the-counter painkillers, trying to basically figure out how to feel these 3 fingers again, because I pinched the nerve, everything down here has been very painful, and it just wasn't great for me to be hunched over a computer doing a bunch of editing or to spend a bunch of time in front of a camera. So that is why there have not been a lot of vlogs lately, but I'm feeling kind of better now. I'm still kind of, you know, working on getting back to full speed, but I'm gonna start doing vlogs again every day, starting right now, actually. The only thing is, you know, at least for the foreseeable future, I'm probably gonna still be taking it kind of easy, so I won't be running around doing anything crazy, certainly no like longboarding or anything like that. So for the foreseeable future, probably be a lot of talking head type vlogs where I'll basically, you know, dive into a different game or talk about what's going on with the other guys, like Kyle working on Geek Deconstructed or Lucas working so fervently on the podcast lately, which you should totally go check out on iTunes. And yeah, so quick update on that. I am totally fine for the most part, just in a little bit of pain, but you know, the vlog will continue to show what's going on and all that stuff. So anyways, thanks so much for watching. Hope you had fun, you know, listening to me go on about Who's Your Daddy, and hope you will give me, you know, forgive me for taking so long to get another vlog out. More stuff coming tomorrow, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. All right, later. It was fun getting all steamy with you tonight.
Yeah, it was.
Let's see it.
Your money's on the table.
Oh.